This episode of Now This Is Lit is brought to you by Audible. Check the link in the description to get your first Star Wars audiobook free. Everyone loves free things. Click that link. Do it. This show is also brought to you by our patrons. If you want to support the show in a different way, with just $1 a month, you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/StarWarsLitPod. You can get a sticker. You can get access to an exclusive show that we do every month that's wild and chaotic and fun and something you can only get by becoming a member of the Patreon. There'll be so many more perks very, very soon. But for now, do you want a sticker? Do you want a sticker that has a Now This Is Lit logo? Because it's fantastic and I love them. But I also want to give them away because there's just a stack of stickers on my desk. So if you want one, $1 a month. Patreon.com/StarWarsLitPod. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. You're listening to Now This Is Lit, a podcast about Star Wars books, the people who make them, and the readers who just can't get enough of them. I'm your host, Meg Dowell. I use she, her pronouns. And it's 2025. It's the first episode of 2025, and there are a lot of Star Wars books coming out in 2025 that we know of so far. There are a lot we know about. There are also a lot we don't know about, and that's very fun. Today, on this episode, to celebrate the fact that it's a new year, I'm going to go over all of the Star Wars books that we know are coming out for sure in 2025. I'm going to give you a list and we're going to talk a little bit about them. Here's what I'm not going to do. I'm not going to talk about books that have not been officially announced. Rumors happen. People find things that they're not supposed to find too soon. I'm only going to tell you what we officially know. Also, there are a lot of really good reference books coming out. I will mention those in the newsletter post that will go along with this episode. I'm not going to talk about them because there are a lot of them. We have technically talked about them in other contexts, particularly with the San Diego Comic-Con announcements last year. Saying last year feels really weird. It is what it is. So I'm not going to mention those here, but I will link to them and talk about them a little bit in the newsletter, so it's fair. The last thing I'm not going to do is go over every single novel reprint, because those are also books that are technically coming out, but they're not new. So really this should be every new Star Wars book coming out. We love reprints. We love them. I will briefly discuss Essential Legends Collection books, but again, we're only talking about books that have been officially announced. And technically, Essential Legends Collection books are not new, but they are new enough. They will be new to a lot of people. So I'll mention some of those. But, we're not going to speculate about what may or may not be coming out. We're going to keep things official. So let's do that. So we will start with the three? Yes. The 3 Essential Legends Collection books that are coming out in February. That's February 4th, 2025. If you don't know what the Essential Legends Collection is, we have discussed it before and we will discuss it again in detail. But these are Legends books that are now part of a collection called the Essential Legends Collection. They are technically reprints, but they have new covers. They're all part of a series. They look really cool lined up all together. And for many people, this is a chance to discover books that are new to them that are Star Wars. And for this round, because they release 3 to 4 waves, they're called, per year. In February, we're getting Dark Lord, The Rise of Darth Vader. We're getting The Force Unleashed 2. And we're getting Scoundrels. That's James Luceno, Sean Williams, and Timothy Zahn. As always, I cannot wait for these new books to come out. I have actually read all of these previously, so I don't have to add to my TBR, which is nice. But I would like to, and probably should, revisit the Force Unleashed books because there's a whole story behind why I love those. Here's the book that people are probably most excited about in 2025, aside from the High Republic, and we will talk about that on February 25th. Alexander Freed is returning to write The Mask of Fear, which is the first book in the Reign of the Empire trilogy. We love when Star Wars does trilogies. It's very exciting, especially in books. So we're getting that. I have not read it yet. I do have it, so that I can review it and talk to the author. Haven't read it yet, but I should get on that. And I have heard good things. I'm very excited, and you should be too. This is, if you don't already know, it takes place after the Empire takes over, after Order 66, and we're getting the perspectives of Mon Mothma and Bail Organa and Saw Gerrera and what they are up to in this aftermath. And, it's set in the Star Wars universe a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, but maybe it's a little bit more relatable than we would like it to be, and that's possibly maybe a good thing. We will see. Star Wars is political. It always has been. It always will be. If you like Claudia Gray, good news. She's back. Allegedly on April 1st. Are all these dates correct? We will find out together. The High Republic, as you may know, is ending very soon, and one of those books that is leading up to the highly anticipated ending is Into the Light. We had Into the Dark to start Claudia Gray's High Republic journey, and now we have Into the Light. It's almost over. We're coming into the light. What we will find when we get to that light, who really knows? I'm not sure I want to know, but we don't have a choice now. It's too late. We're too far in. We're going to find out together. Once again, I said I'm not going to talk about reference books, but allegedly, according to the list that I'm looking at, there's going to be Women of the Galaxy updated edition. I have thoughts about that, and they are good thoughts. This is one of my favorite reference books of all time, and I've been saying forever that they needed to update it. Maybe we'll talk to Amy Ratcliffe about that. We will see if that's possible. I'm not that cool, but maybe I'm cooler than I think. If you like Justina Ireland writing Star Wars books, allegedly, again, I don't know if these dates are super correct. I will have to do some verifying when I'm not on a time crunch, but allegedly on May 6th, we are getting 2 Justina Ireland books. I am sure that that's not actually the case, but it could be. But the 2 books we are getting is The Acolyte, Wayseeker, which we're all very excited about. We talked about this in that news drop episode. Ernesto Rowe, what are you doing? What are you doing in between the end of the High Republic and The Acolyte? Maybe we'll find out. Also, A Valiant Vow, which is her last High Republic book, like official High Republic, like the series. That's also coming out, either on May 6th or some other day that's not the same day as another Justina Ireland Star Wars book about High Republic characters. I will mention this because I mentioned it in my review. If you are waiting for a script book of Tempest Breaker, which is the script written, hold in your hand a book version of the audio drama that came out last month, that's by Cavan Scott, and that's coming out. And that's coming out on May 13th. That date I know for sure is right, because I looked it up previously when I was verifying that was actually happening, because people like the script books and they're very important. If audio consumption of stories is not for you, so you do have to wait a little bit longer, but it is coming. And based on past script books of these audio dramas, it's going to look great on your shelf. It looks great on my shelf. Not this one. I don't have it yet. I will have to purchase this one with my own hard-earned money, but it's worth it. This is, other than Mask of Fear, and among like the books that we know of that are coming out this year so far, likely the most anticipated, and that is the end of the High Republic as we know it. Charles Soule, June 17th, according to this list. The High Republic, Trials of the Jedi. That is so far away, but you know what? It gives us more time to prepare for what's to come. This book is going to hurt us. This is the end of the High Republic series, the High Republic story. It started with Charles Soule, Light of the Jedi. It will end with him writing Trials of the Jedi. A lot's probably going to happen between now and then it will be over, and we'll need to process that, all of us together, and we will do that. There's a lot of High Republic related things that I'm planning for the show for this first half of the year, and probably some things after that to give us all space to reflect on the journey and think about all of the things that we have been put through. And maybe, just maybe, I'll have the authors on and some others associated with the project to talk about all of that. Is it going to happen? Again, I don't know, but I'm just going to let you know. I'm manifesting it. That's what we're doing in 2025. We are manifesting the things that could happen and saying that they are going to happen. We like that energy. That's what we're going into the year with. Highly encourage that if you're not doing that, listen, I know the world is terrible right now, but sometimes you have to try to manifest good things, and maybe they will happen. We'll find out together. It is not going to be the title of this episode, but it should be. And here's where I find out that the untitled Tessa Gratton Acolyte book has been given a name. I have not been keeping up with these updates. Apparently it's called The Crystal Crown. We love that. This is, if you need a refresher on the news or you had never heard the news before, this is the Jackie and Jord book that Tessa Gratton is writing. We're all very excited about that. Possibly on July 29th. We'll have to wait until then. But you know what? I bet it's going to be worth it. Worth the wait, as so many of these things are. And this is where, based on the list I am looking at, we could get into some speculation, or we could get into things that have not been officially announced but have been people have been made aware of them. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. We're not going to do that here. Not today. But we can say that there are probably some other novels coming out this year, maybe one in particular that you may have heard of by now if you're on the internet, that are going to feature some characters that we, and by we I mean me, are going to be very grateful to have back. It's been too long. And even sometimes in Star Wars you think that you're never going to see another character again. And Star Wars always finds a way. And that's why we are fans, and that's why we love it as much as we do. You are probably wondering which book that we know about so far. There will likely be others. This is about the first half of the year is what we know about by now, based on like how far out Star Wars books are announced. Might be getting some more announcements fairly soon. But again, we'll see. If Star Wars official accounts, if you make an announcement officially before this episode comes out, I'm going to be a little bit upset. But it's too late now by the time you're listening to this, so they will have read my mind if that's the case. Anyway, what am I most excited about for this year? I'm really excited for Mask of Fear. I talked about that a little bit in the last few episodes, I think. Haven't read it yet, but again, I've heard good things, and these are characters I've wanted more of in books for a while, and we're finally getting those, and that is something that we like. We, the collective we, but also I. And as sad as I am for the High Republic to be ending, I'm also really excited to see how they wrap everything up. This has been a series that has been ongoing for years. And they've been working on it for years prior to that and before we even knew about it. And I don't want it to end. Endings are hard sometimes to process. But I cannot wait. You know, as a lover of stories, I always want to know, how are the creators going to get us from where we started to where it all ends? And there's no one has ever said that this is the end of the High Republic forever, right? But it probably will be the end of this High Republic series continuity, these characters, for quite a long time. And my hope is that rather than dwelling on being sad that it's over, we as a fandom can celebrate that it happened. I didn't want to say it like that, but that's just kind of how it came out. This is what happens when you don't give me a script. These things come out of my mouth this way. I hope that we can look back on all the great things that have come out of the High Republic and celebrate it and be sad that it's over, but also be amazed at the fact that they, all of the creators involved, have pulled this off, but also we, the readers, have kept it going. Because if you can start something, you can start an initiative like this, and if people don't resonate with it, if people aren't purchasing it, if people aren't interacting with it, then it doesn't stick around. But because Star Wars readers and High Republic fans specifically are so passionate about it, that's one of the reasons it has become what it has. Experiments are experiments. You don't know if they're going to work, and I'm so glad that it worked. And so I'm looking forward to all of these final stories. To see the original first 3 authors come in to finish this off, I think is going to be really special. And again, hopefully I can have really interesting conversations with some of them, all of them individually, all at once, about that and all of this. Stay tuned on that. I am really looking forward to 2025 in Star Wars books, both what we know about, what I've talked about today, and what we don't even know is coming yet, but is likely coming, because there are always Star Wars books in the second half of the year. Even if there aren't as many, they are there. They're out there somewhere. So we'll see what that looks like. And maybe toward the second half of the year, I will update you with, what's happening in the rest of the year, and we can talk about that. Thank you, as always, for listening. Happy 2025. I hope that you have been thinking about your Star Wars reading resolutions for the year per our last episode. I've not started on mine yet, but I hopefully will be very soon, maybe after I'm done recording this. Who knows? It's going to be a great year for the show. It's going to be a great year for Star Wars books. I'm happy to still be here celebrating all of these stories with you. I'm not going anywhere, and I hope you will stick around too. Now This Is Lit is part of the Faraway Fandom Network. It is produced by Devor Mondum and written, hosted, and edited by me. Jose Jimenez designed our podcast art. You can keep up with the show on Substack and Now This Is Lit, and find the show wherever you get your podcasts. There are so many ways you can support the show, and all of those ways are linked in the show description. The newest way is to become a member of our Patreon. For $1 a month, you can get access to an exclusive show and a sticker. And if we get 500 people to support the Patreon per month, I can hire an editor. That would be great for me, and maybe for you too. So if you'd like to support the show with just $1 a month, you can do it that way. Or you can just keep listening and sharing the episodes. That is also helpful, and I appreciate it. For more book reviews and Star Wars Book Celebration, follow Star Wars Book Reviews on Instagram and TikTok.